I was prepared as I always am. I didn't really prepare any differently this past week than I have any weeks going into the season. Obviously, it's a little different feel when you're walking out on the field knowing you're going in to start the game. But, I approach every week the same way just because, I mean, over the past couple years of my life, I've learned that, if you're not prepared, then you're going to get a wake-up call real quick. So, I approach this game the same way, and I was ready to go. I just think, it was just a couple little things. Like I said the other day, I think we had, some penalties, some sacks. We always talk about staying on schedule, and I think that we had some, third and longs, and that's just kind of where we really ended up, you know, losing control of the game as we just weren't executing at that point. I think we just really need to focus in on, those little things like I was just talking about, making sure we're not falling back to third and long when we're in those situations, be getting to third and short, and, really focusing in on what our assignment is and executing. We talk about going 1-0 every week, so obviously, we want to take this week 1 week at a time and go win this game, but obviously, we'd love to win, the week after that too, and finish the season strong and go to a good bowl game. I think we can. With the running backs we have, the offensive line we have, I think, obviously my strengths are more as a passer than a runner, but I think, throwing the ball for me obviously should be able to open up the running game for us. So, I don't know if I can really point out a specific point because, we had the drive where we got stopped on fourth down in their territory, but they didn't end up scoring again until the fourth quarter, so it's not like we really lost control right there. That obviously would have been a huge swing in momentum getting that first down, but I think slowly it just kind of started happening over time. It wasn't really a specific point. Yeah, obviously the win is way more important to me than whatever my stats are. At the end of the day, if we don't win, I could care less what my stats are. So, I'm obviously me playing well is going to be important for the team. So, I'm doing everything I can to play well for this team and make sure that we're getting the win at the end of the day. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you think you're going to get out there and you're going to be real nervous and everything. But once you get out there, it's just football. You feel like back when you were a kid just playing in Pop Warner. It's everything you dreamed of, but at the same time, it's still football. So.
Not too much on the physical side, just, getting back mentally and being mentally prepared. And, you're going to have a killer instinct, especially, like I said, playing 2 games in 10 or 11 days. That's rough. And, but you got to have that. It's what you signed up for. It's why we play this game. So any challenge that steps in front of you, you got to go attack it. So, I think that's where that killer instinct has to come in place. And, like I said, we know what we're capable of. We're the same team that we were, 3-4 weeks ago when we were undefeated. So that's one thing that we're kind of, telling our guys right now. Like I said it, after, the Mississippi State game when Jake came in, I feel like we don't really lose a beat. Obviously Jake has different strengths than Trevor does, and Trevor has different strengths than Jake does. So, we really do a good job of formulating our offense, around, each one of their strengths, and, got to get it going. And, especially in the passing game, it's big, it's big on us receivers to go out there and make plays for Jake, and, we're really focusing on that. But, I thought Jake did a great job, with his first start and dealing with all that. And, we're just, looking forward to continuing, molding with him. Without a doubt, especially, when it comes to him, now being a starter, you get a ton of more reps with him, reps that, you don't really get as much with, when Trevor was starting. So, I definitely believe that the timing and the chemistry will soon, start to develop a lot faster than it did during the season. Yeah, it's tough, even with the Mississippi State week as well. The last 2 weeks we've probably had the best 2 weeks of practice that we've had all season, just when it's come to energy, executing plays, no drop balls, penalties. It's been real clean. And we were really excited about it coming into the game. And that's the the disappointing part is you feel like you're clicking so well during the week, and then come out in the game and then you get a loss. It's tough to battle with, but I think the biggest thing is just us having to play for 4 quarters and not giving up, or not saying that we did give up, but not losing a lack of focus or not losing a lack of effort on each and every play. Because, like I say, it's, you can lose at any time, during any game. And, that's a big thing that we got to focus on this week is just playing for 4 quarters. It's really been just a group effort, and it's right now it's just moving on and not even talking about what happened on Saturday. It's keeping a positive outlook and just kind of looking at what we can still play for and what we can still accomplish with the rest of the season. And it could be a lot worse. There's still Coach Sumlin says it all the time. There's plenty of other teams out there that would die to be in our position, and you just have to be thankful that you're in this position. You work so hard for it, and like I said, you just got to finish out the season strong and go out and get this win on Saturday and take one week at a time.